It's Tuesday, and you are tuned into MyStockScanner Live. We have an interesting day ahead as the US market get ready to open after a long weekend and new threats from Trump. The European markets are moving, and even though it's a bit chaotic out there, we always put our stocks through our 3 point playbook. That means that we ask, is it a quality stock? Does it have an upside? And is the timing right? Hans-Henrik Nielsen and Liam Flavelle are men of answers. If you have questions for them, please write us, FOMO at MyStockScanner.com. Hans-Henrik, yesterday, little market drop, not as big as expected, or what? Was it as bad as you feared or better?
Now, we did say in the weekend that people should have a bit of ice in the stomach, just wait it out, just see what happens. And right now, I think market is waiting to see, will we see a taco from Trump or will this escalate?
I look at the Danish market down by 0.67%. If I look to the American market, Liam, they're going to open today after a day off yesterday. They are somewhere between 1.3 and 1.9. What's your expectations?
I think it'll open about 1.3, 1.9, I think, but we don't know. The problem is the US market have had an extra day to digest the news coming out. They probably had to look on a map, a lot of them, to find out where sort of Greenland was and things like that. So maybe they won't see it quite as bad, but it'll be interesting to see.
We'll keep an eye out for you for sure. For all of you, markets are shifting fast as Trump ramps up tariff threats on Europe, and analysts warn it could push investors even further away from the Buy American trade. French wine is now in the crosshairs as Trump pressures Macron to join the so-called Board of Peace. All of this is playing out on social media and on the way to Davos for Trump. He will probably say something on Truth Social as he's flying there. He says he'll meet various parties from geopoliticals and housing to billionaires in Greenland. And in the midst of all this chaos, rates are moving. Two stocks will show you to tell how they are affecting these stocks. Canada is positioned itself in a world with less reliance on the US, and French are pushing drones. The car factory Renault is going to help the French government build drones, and Amazon buys a mine in Arizona while AI threatens software as we know it. Markets are volatile, and we'll ask, where should you go with your investments? And as said, if you have questions for us, do write us, FOMO at MyStockScanner.com. Number of the day, $584,200. What it relates to, we'll tell at the end of the show. But let's start where we started yesterday. It's all about EU and the US. Greenland and Denmark plays a role in this as well. Hans-Henrik, it influenced the rates for sure. They're starting to move up now.
Yes, definitely, and that is one of the things we said also in the weekend wrap for our members this weekend. We said we will actually look mostly at interest rates in the coming week to see if they start to pop up, and they do. We should remember that when bonds go down, interest rates go up. EU is sitting on $2.5 trillion worth of US bonds. So if they start to sell them out, the interest rate in US will go up. Is that what's happening now? Might just be a bit jumpy investors, but right now it is getting a lot more expensive to be American, both business and just normal consumer, if the rates keeps going up.
And Hans-Henrik, that's the bazooka that EU has on the US. But it will affect
It's part
companies.
of it, yes.
It's part of it, but it will affect companies in the US right where it hurts, on their money. And that means they'll put pressure on Trump. Show us two stocks that sort of will be affected differently by these rates going up.
That is true. Rates will be going up, and well, tariffs are as well. But what we say in environments like this is be careful to look at the solidity, the stability of the company, because some companies are very much hurt by higher interest rates. It could be something like Boeing. And what we are looking for, normally we start out looking in the playbook and everything is nice, green and red and so on. But let's just go into the details here. when we scroll down, we can see there is something called interest coverage that tells us how many times over can they pay the annual interest on the debt with the money they make. And a company like Boeing, they can't. They don't even make enough money basically to pay the interest on the debt, meaning they have to borrow money well, it almost sounds like United States actually. But a company like that would be massively hurt if interest rates keeps jumping upwards, whereas a company like Google, and I know there are a lot of metrics you can look at, but today we just look at the interest coverage. A company like Google, they can pay their interest rates more than 400 times over. So they don't really care about interest rates going up. And that is an extra layer to know about when you analyze a company, especially when interest rates are going up.
And since we're talking about it, we have a webinar tomorrow at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It will be in Danish. 8 o'clock, it will be in English in regards to the 3-point playbook and how we use these tools to analyze each and every stock that we take a look at. And we did it last year in the 3-point playbook portfolio. We put our money where our mouth is, and we came back with a track record of 34.48% last year in return on the full year 2025. Something that I know that Liam is interested in, Hans-Henrik, and that is that Trump might put tariff on wines. It's not going to affect him as he's in the UK, but that's the newest thing, and it came out not because of Greenland, but because of the Board of Peace.
I was in France last week. I did my bit to keep the wine prices up over there. More than my bit, actually.
Okay, but Hans-Henrik, what again? We are basically seeing trade policies being used as a weapon in regards to anything now.
Yeah, it's kind of the only tool we hear from United States these days. There's not much diplomacy. There's not much anything. It's just a big fat hammer that you keep punching people with. And we're getting a bit tired of it. And it seems like the EU leadership is finally starting to grow a spine and actually saying, enough is enough. I think you are looking a bit. Yeah, let's hope so. It seems like they are fed up with this blackmailing.
So we just rename it to Board of Taking the Piss. Is that what we're going to do?
But look at this headline. It just came up this morning that the Supreme Court might throw a wrench into Trump's plan in regards to taking over Greenland. Guys, doesn't that put an end to all of that then?
No, they have 6-8 different ways around it, and they will just keep pushing. It'll just be more chaotic. But I have a feeling that Supreme Court will at least maybe a bit of a mixed decision. But I think they will say you cannot just put tariffs of anybody if you like to.
That's
I
the
think
tariff.
The interest. Yeah, I was going to say the interesting thing this year will be the midterms. See what comes out of there and what sort of I don't know, borders that they can put around Trump after that.
Do you still think they'll have midterms?
Oh, I know you've got a concern.
I need to call you to order now, because the thing is that we're really getting away from investable things. But I have one final question in regards to what's taking place this week. We know that Trump is heading to Davos right now. He will speak there tomorrow. He will have meetings. Just for people who have never heard of Davos before, I know there's normally 1,500 private jets down there because all the billionaires in the world seem to go there. But what is it? Hans-Henrik, I'll let you have this one. What is Davos?
Well, first of all, it's a city. Isn't it a ski resort, Liam?
It is a ruined ski resort. This one.
It's a ruined
ski
resort. Okay.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a city. It has given name to this event, and I think it's from the beginning of the 70s, 71 or something like that. They held it, and they are meeting up 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people every year, once a week on this World Economic Forum. And it's kind of their main meeting. That is prime ministers and top economists and everything. And often there is a theme. This year it will be Greenland and blackmailing of the European nations, and NATO. So I think that is the main topic this time.
Okay, so sort of a Glastonbury for billionaires. That's what it is. It's basically just change the Stellas with probably Dom
Yeah.
Pignon. Let's change
Less
subjects.
Portaloos.
Let's change subjects, because a nation that has sort of went on its own in that sense that Canada's Prime Minister Carney aims to lead a new global trading order, less reliant on the US. Liam, should we buy, I'm almost going to say the beaver because it's in the picture, but I'll say stock instead. Is it time to buy Canadian stocks?
Canadian stock's something we're going to look at because and focus a bit more on, because there are good things about Canada. Very pretty, it's got some nice ski resorts, but they're not the good things we're going to talk about this time. They've got a decent economy. It's got okay growth, but also low inflation. And the economists are looking at it saying, we think the inflation process, and killing inflation over there is actually further along than the US and the EU. And certainly with the EU, we're looking at potentially stagflation. The US have got potential bubbles everywhere, though Canada wouldn't be too insulated from that, I think. But they've got a decent economy. Mark Carney was our governor of the Bank of England for 5 years, something like that. So he did a pretty good job there. And it seems like the economy is something that he likes to concentrate on. He's not wildly popular over there. I think he's quite a dry person anyway. So it'd be interesting to see how he does as a PM rather than sort of a financial custodian. The key thing, go on.
Now, I just want to mention that Canada actually produced more jobs last year in total than USA did.
That'll change as soon as they start editing those figures for the historical US stuff. That'll change. It'll be fine.
Sure.
The big thing with Canada, apart from they've done a lot of international deals recently, but the big thing about Canada is that they're very good on the banking side. They've got a very solid, well-respected banking system, and they've got commodities left, right, and centre. I mean, that's why Trump has talked about the 51st state. So that's the area that is the place to be at the moment for investments. We were looking at long-only funds earlier on today, and all the top four were all commodities and gold. So, and I think that will continue this year.
But the thing is that, first of all, it couldn't be the 51st state. That has to be Greenland. It has to be the 52nd state if he takes over Canada as well. I'm talking Trump here. But we will be looking at Canadian stocks over the coming days and try to pick something out, because they are part of a new world order. They have a trade deal that they haven't used with EU. You can hear more about that in the Danish show. If you understand Danish, Hans-Henrik will talk about that. Hans-Henrik, I'm going to grab onto you. And since we are in the French-speaking part of Canada for some reason, because I decided it, I will talk a little bit about France right now, because I fell over a story about that the automaker Renault will make drones, and it's not a push to buy Renault stocks, but it leads us into defense stocks. I thought, and again, I might be new to this, that defense stocks were going to do tremendously well yesterday. They did all right. They did a couple of percent up. Why not more?
Yeah, well, first of all, I did just pull up Renault here. Let's see, and that is, let's hope for them that they can make some money on drones, because they're not good at making them on cars. But you're absolutely right. We got a question in the Action Snack group last night or yesterday about can Saab. That was the focus on the Swedish Saab defense stock. Can it really keep going up? And that's a very good question, because yes, it can, as long as people are willing to take more and more risk on it. Because the thing is, and we went out on most of our defense stocks back in August, I think it was, and that was because they have begun to be very expensive. Right now, Saab is trading at a price earning at 75, meaning you're paying 75 Swedish kroner for each 1 kroner profit. That is very expensive for what is basically an industrial company. I know it's high-tech weapons and stuff, but they cannot scale up their production as quickly as the stock market has gone up. Can it keep going up? Yes, if the price earning, if people are willing to pay a price earning that is insanely high, let's say 200, well, there's plenty of room upwards. The stock can always go up if people are willing to take insane risks. We are not, and that is why we're not going into Saab right now, because it's just too expensive. It is what we call price for perfection, which means it doesn't take much bad news to send the stock down?
Again, this is a thing that we tend to travel over and over again, these sort of, metrics for when to go into a stock, PE, PEG ratio, and other words that we throw around here on the show. And as said, we have a webinar tomorrow. If you're new, then check us out. It's at 7 o'clock tomorrow in Danish and 8 o'clock in English. Go to our webpage, MyStockScanner.com, and sign up for the show. It's absolutely free. Let's move on to something else that is also making headlines, and that is, we've heard about that the tech industry is heavily interested and heavily invested into their own energy sources. People are talking that they will build nuclear reactors next to their factories and data centers and what have you. Liam, Amazon went out and bought a mine, or at least they invested in it. What's the story?
Yeah, doesn't everyone do that? I mean, I almost did it last week, I'm sure. Yeah, it's a common occurrence, I think. Yeah, I mean, Amazon, what most people think of Amazon is a big shop online. Their biggest operating arm is actually AWS, which is their data center system, which is all about AI and building out these things. Data centers use a phenomenal amount of copper in the wiring and connectors, etc., etc. So they're looking at supply, and this is, I was thinking about it over the weekend actually. This is, a lot of it is down to globalization actually breaking down and reversing a little bit, because globalization has allowed us to go out to China and get things made cheaper, or Vietnam or India or something like that. But what's happened is we haven't got any secure supply lines anymore. So, and that's exactly what Amazon are doing. They're saying we need a direct supply line to make copper, and they'll probably do the same with silver, I would guess, and things like that, because there's a lot of that in these processes. So
before we look at the stock, it's basically like Hans-Henrik has his own garden and he grows his own vegetable, and you're brewing your own beer.
Yeah, basically. Okay. Or schnapps or something like that.
Let's look at Amazon, because it's a quality stock. It really has a lot of potential. It can go places.
It is. I mean, we'll do a very quick 3-point playbook analysis on it. I mean, everyone knows it, so there's a description at the top of our dashboard here. But the 3 questions on the playbook are: is this a quality company? Is it undervalued? And is it a good time to buy? The dashboard we've got here in MyStockScanner actually gives you really good overview of what you can, whether this is a quality company or not. The key 3 metrics I look at just to work out whether I even need to bother spending any more time on the stock is the quality score, the earnings per share needs to be going up, these gold bars are the future, and the PEG ratio below 2.5 shows us that there's room for the stock to go up still. Those 3 things tell me this is an interesting stock that's primed to go up and has probably got some value or lack of value compared to where the market thinks it's going to be. We can then look at other things like return on capital employed and return on equity. We'll go through those tomorrow in our webinars. Second stage, so tick in the box, it's a quality company. We all knew that anyway, but it really is a high quality company. What we have here is our value chart that basically says, in the past, the market, when the stock has bottomed out, has been prepared to pay this level for the stock, and it is a multiple of earnings per share. And at the moment, it's down in the sort of bottom quadrant here, bottom third. So we can look at this and say, okay, in a couple of years, we can see maybe 20% in the worst case scenario, if everything goes wrong and we're not happy and the data centers sort of, they don't build as much, they don't make as much profits, up to about 60% in the future. So from a valuation point of view, yes, there's lots of room to go up from here. And the third point that we always look at is this a good time to buy? We look at some various different metrics here. We've got our green MTI indicators down the bottom. They're the momentum indicators that we've got that tell us whether the stock is in a good trend or not. They've just turned green in the last week or so. Great trend. It's also, we look at the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. They are just the average of the last 50 and 200-day prices, closing prices. The stock is above them, even though hopefully it will bounce off of there. It's probably going to open around here today and then hopefully shoot upwards. If that's the case, then all 3 of our questions are answered with a big tick, and it's not looking too bad.
See, a really quick analysis here with the 3-point playbook. That's what we're going to show much more about tomorrow at our webinar tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock Danish, 8 o'clock English. And it also leads us very nicely into that the way that we do this is, of course, because we have users and they ask us questions and we ask them questions. And on Tuesdays, we ask them a question. That could be anything in regards to what Danish stocks looks really good. But this one, Hans-Henrik, that's a bit more sort of, because of the news. Right now, everybody's looking for a safe haven. Stocks are volatile. Where can you go? We're asking today in all our social medias where to go. Do you want to buy physical gold, physical silver, or anything, basically?
Yeah, we are basically asking where you put it, if not in, or maybe we're actually also asking about some stocks, but where you're putting your money in volatile and nervous times when it's all a bit shaky. It could be gold and silver. We're asking about some put it in crypto, some in mining, some in defense stocks. Maybe they take out cash and put it under the bed or whatever. But we're basically asking people, what do you do? And there's no right or wrong. We just want to see what is a general opinion about among our 60,000+ users.
So do go to our various Facebook groups, Aktiesnak for alle or Aktieanalyse, or our members page, and give your voice. Maybe even put something in there that we haven't put in there. We will have them up for your pleasure and viewing after the show today. You could also buy watches. And I know that's a little theme going on Davos right now, because this watch I'm going to bring up here in the picture right now is the Chronometer Resonance. It costs $170,000.
You're having a stroke.
No, I'm just speaking French. The thing is, $170,000 it used to cost, but Francis Ford Coppola, the guy behind Godfather and lots of mafia movies. I don't know why I'm thinking of him when I'm thinking Trump. But he sold this watch for $584,000. Number of the day. So he made a huge profit. Maybe we should invest in stuff like that. The flip side of this watch looks like this. You really get to see the mechanical pieces, but it's not the most expensive watch in the world. That's this one. $55 million for this diamond-studded, somebody call it a masterpiece. The name of it, Hallucination. Hallucination. It's not really something. The only watch that men should wear, if you ask me, is this watch. If you could put your hands on it, it's the Rolex Daytona Paul Newman edition. But you will have to cough up almost $17 million to get a watch like that. So not yet, my friends. We're not ready to do that. Number of the day, but let's be serious here at the end of the show, because we have earnings coming up. Netflix, Interactive Brokers, and 3M. That's today. And then numbers tomorrow from Johnson & Johnson, Visa later on in the week. Do they get any news coverage, Liam? Do they even care that they're bringing out earnings?
Netflix is a big one. I think they might get swamped this week with everything going on in the macro environment, but Netflix is definitely a big one. They're a massive heavyweight in the industry. There's a lot going on in generally in the streaming industry that, with Larry Ellison coming in with, the Paramount deals and things like that. So, it could be an interesting one, that one. Interactive Brokers, I use them. So it's be interesting to see what they do.
But in all honesty, one tweet or one Truth Social or whatever we should call it from Trump, and it'll be buried on page 11, won't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I mean. The macro environment is going to be winning this week. We've got lots of data, lots of items coming out, but we are in the middle of earnings season, or just at the start of earnings season, so it is going to weigh in.
It's going to weigh in at one point for sure. But in the meantime, Davos is front and center everywhere. Hans-Henrik, Trump will be speaking tomorrow. We have no idea, of course, what he's going to say.
Or does he?
I do have an idea, actually.
You have an idea? Okay, let's hear it.
He is going to do a bit like the UN talk last time, where he basically say, we are good, you are awful, give us Greenland. That would be the gist of it.
Is that your best Trump?
Don't go there. Just trying to summarize.
Let's talk about Tesla.
I can try doing it in French, though.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We're at the end of the show here. Remember, you can read Liam's Tuesday Tech, his article where he gets into other subjects as well. You can find it at MyStockScanner.com, the same place where you can sign up for our webinar tomorrow and get to learn how to use the tools that we have available for you. It is really kind of neat. And last year we did a track record of 34.48 return of investment on that little thing that we have right there. So every stock goes to quality, upside, and timing. Liam, when we're talking timing, is back on Thursday, 1 o'clock. Hans-Henrik and I are back tomorrow at 12 in Danish. Today, stay safe out there and happy investing. See you guys.